Hi guys, welcome back to another interesting episode. Today's video is from Douglas Murray Speaks. It's titled Douglas Murray Obliterates Muslim Activists with Shocking Facts. We know Douglas Murray's standing when it comes to conversations like this, and we've been seeing lots of videos of where he's coming out, to say his truth and stand against what he believes, what he doesn't believe in, and all of those interesting things. Today he's going to be breaking down a lot of things, and I'm here for it, and we are so interested in this. Before we dive into today's video, my name is Oge. Which is the first time here, hello, hi, do want to click on the red subscribe button, like this video, kindly turn on the post notification bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. And yeah, so drop a comment. I'll be dropping my third during the course of this video and after this video, so don't go away. Okay, let's get straight into the video.
Who are the people who intervened most in Syria? Hang on. Let me answer it. Who intervened most in Syria? It wasn't America. It wasn't Britain. It's Iran, Russia. It's, among others, countries, including the one we're in and others around the Gulf here.
Before we got to Syria, we had Iraq, we had Libya, we had many
countries in this neck of the woods were much more involved in the Syrian civil war than my country was.
Well, you're also
so do you want to take some responsibility for that? Do you want to take more refugees here in Qatar? Do you want to take more in the Gulf?
No one is immune to any sort of...
Douglas Murray obliterates Muslim activists with shocking facts at an event in Qatar. In a heated exchange with a less than impartial moderator, Murray slams the suggestion that Western nations, such as the US and the UK, bear all the responsibility for the Middle East refugee crisis and therefore should take in the majority of refugees. He brings up the fact that foreign intervention in the Syrian civil war, which led to over 5 million refugees to flee their country, largely came from Russia, Iran, and yes, Qatar. And yet, collectively, they have taken in fewer than 500 refugees. The moderator is clearly caught off guard and unable to offer a comeback. Next, we discover a shocking revelation.
Where does mercy fit in that? Not just mercy, but the obligation, the legal obligations of states towards refugees.
I'd suggest that we all make sure we don't shift responsibility. There is a responsibility to everyone. That would include the state we're standing in now, wouldn't it? It would include all the states in this region. It would include the brother states. It would include the Ummah. It would include everybody. It wouldn't just be the Italians. Now, the Italians, by the way, and let me just finish this point.
That's a valid issue, but let me respond to it. Let me finish the point. The region, it's a valid issue, but unlike the European countries, allow me to just make this point. Unlike the European countries,
I'll respond to two points.
They are not parties to the 1951 Refugee Convention. So the legal obligations are, well, it's just a fact.
Conveniently, isn't it?
But I'll let you carry.
The moderator yet again attempts to shift all responsibility to Western nations to deal with the migrant crisis. She lambasts Italy for not doing more to help, despite the fact that as of 2022, Italy hosted close to 300,000 refugees. In comparison, in the same year, Qatar hosted fewer than 300. This is doubly absurd when one considers that Italy is some 2,500 kilometers from Syria over often treacherous waters, whereas Qatar is just 1,500 kilometers away and can be reached by land. In another flagrant display of bias, the moderator cuts Douglas off as he attempts to address the point. Only she doesn't help her case. She lets slip that Qatar is not signed up to the 1951 United Nations Refugee Convention, seemingly believing that this absolves Qatar of any moral responsibility to accept refugees. Very convenient, as Douglas points out. Next, the clash between Douglas and the moderator reaches fever pitch after she not so implicitly accuses him of racism.
And you seem to almost suggest that they come to your countries with a lesser breed of values.
No, I don't think I said that at any point, and that's another time you've tried to put something in my mouth.
So when you talk about the difference in values, what do you suggest?
Look, first of all, I didn't say that. I said that there are challenges because we do know that there are challenges, and let's just be frank about this. I mean, for instance, I've been in the Gulf for the last week or so. I see more burqas in my home city of London than I have seen in the Gulf in recent days, certainly.
The moderator crosses the line here. No moderator should ever show bias during a discussion, but to point blank accuse someone of racism and put words in their mouth is quite unbelievable. Douglas shows incredible restraint as he swats back the accusation and continues his point unruffled. Recognizing the challenge of mixing different cultures together in no way equates to racism. Just as the culture of immigrants has to be respected, so too does the culture of the host country. The question is simple. At what point does immigration become too much? The UK has its own very distinct culture which is already under threat in certain areas as migration shows no signs of slowing down. Many immigrants themselves, along with the natives, appreciate the culture of the host country they're in and wouldn't want it to disappear. But the moderator doesn't stop there. She has the audacity to insist British people change their culture to fit in with the immigrants.
But again, is it all down to burqas? Because again, you're not asking people with other traditions whether they care about the sight of people drinking alcohol or growing up in bikinis. Again, it's a very
we could in Britain
Western-centric viewpoint.
I'm not. I have to say, you're going to bark up the wrong tree if you think you're going to persuade a Brit that we should stop drinking alcohol because of people arriving in our country. I mean, that's not going to happen. These things are all a bit of give and take.
You bring your own traditions that don't quite fit with theirs.
Well,
they don't.
There are, as I said, and before we got all confrontational, which you did from the get-go, I said what the problem is here is that these things are all rubbing against each other. And in that situation, you have to work out what things you're willing to give up, which things you're willing to compromise on, and which ones you're not. You're not going to persuade the Brits to massively change their culture, but
the moderator's comments here actually hit the nail on the head regarding this issue. If the host country is to tolerate a very different culture than their own and not require a certain level of assimilation, what's to stop the immigrant culture from demanding the host culture assimilate to it? It's a specific feature of Western countries that they embrace liberalism. Behave and act in whatever manner you wish as long as it doesn't harm others. This way of thinking has led to incredible advances in human rights and flourishing. However, what happens when this kind of liberal society gives hosts to cultures that don't share these values, that believe their culture is the only true way to live? As Douglas points out, in this situation, the host country is bound to lose at least some of its most important values. The idea is met with sniggering from the audience, which causes Douglas to finally lose his cool.
This question directly, if you can. Which of your values are you most afraid to lose? Which ones are most threatened by
freedom
the arrival of refugees?
Wait, if I understand this correctly, right? Like, the host country is asked to change their culture, for example, say drinking, because another country, refugees are coming to settle in. I'm not understanding. Anyway, let's continue this video.
Refugees.
Freedom of speech. It's the first one. Oh, you think that's not a problem?
I mean,
you think that's not a problem?
But
you think, sorry, no. Let me pick up on that. Let me pick up on that. It's very easy to snigger. It's very easy to snigger about this until you've had friends shot in a newspaper office. It's very easy to laugh about that until it's happened to people you know.
It's hard to know what the audience is sniggering at. That freedom of speech isn't important? That the West doesn't really have freedom of speech? Or that it's better that freedom of speech is done away with? Whichever it is, it's a very ominous sign, which is exactly why Douglas gets so combative. As a journalist himself, Douglas knows full well how freedom of speech underscores every other right we have in free societies. Do away with it, and everything else falls. And he's seen firsthand the attack on freedom of speech that has resulted from the proliferation of Islam in the West. In particular, the Charlie Hebdo shooting in France in 2015, when 12
I think freedom of speech is very, very important. Now, I'm not understanding if the audience are supporting or are against it. That's why Douglas Murray is trying to be very, he's like, are you guys saying that freedom of speech should be taken away from us, like, because you do not know the effect of these things? So I think that, because I think that if a country is, migrating into your country, are they not the ones that are supposed to, conform to what's going on in the host country? Are they not supposed to, get used to what's going on there? I can understand that the people migrating are, you know, is an Islamic community, and we know that Islamic people are very modest. They have, you know, a certain way of life, very, you know, very simple, and, you know, they don't drink, no drinking, and, you know, certain things, their mode of dressing, very modest and all. But I think that, you know, if you are moving into a country, you migrating are the ones that should conform to the way of life. Like, you're supposed to adjust or even continue with your own culture. I mean, no, but I don't think you should change your cultures and your beliefs, but there are certain things that I don't think should be taken away from the host country, like figure of speech. If we say maybe alcohol, we could get a kind of control measures around that, but figure of speech, nah, I don't think so. But let's continue this video.
12 journalists were brutally shot by 2 Muslims for printing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. Seen in the light of this atrocity, the audience sniggering is disgusting and evidence of their ignorance of the issues surrounding this debate. Luckily, Douglas is able to shine a light and offer the only sane way to go forward.
All I'm saying to you is, you can agree with me that people who say that most people arriving are going to be violent are ridiculous. Yes, but also don't claim it's ridiculous for people to have serious and sincere concerns about what is happening. Because if you do, there's no way anyone's going to arrive.
And that is the reality. Absolutely, Mark. How do you deal with this? It is the reality. This is...
Here we see Douglas's oratorical gifts and rational brilliance in full flow, even eliciting agreement from the heavily biased moderator and applause from the previously derisive audience. To say that all immigrants are good and will fit happily into their host countries is as absurd as saying they're all bad and future terrorists. It's a far more nuanced issue than that, and we have to be able to have the discussions and confront the challenges we're being faced with. First and foremost, we should all fight against the accusations of racism if we dare to bring these issues up. Such accusations are the quickest way to shut down debate and ensure that the future of immigration in the West will be one of misunderstanding, disagreement, and strife. Faced with a wholly oppositional panel, moderator, and audience, Douglas equipped himself superbly and undoubtedly managed to win over many with his arguments. If you enjoyed this look into the mind of Douglas Murray, please hit the like button. Give us your thoughts on the issues discussed in this video in the comments. And for more Murray content coming soon, don't forget to subscribe.
I don't think it's a bad thing to be concerned with the fact that these people migrating could be future terrorists. I'm not saying they are, but I mean, since there has been a history of terrorism amongst them, right, it is not such a bad thing to be concerned about that. Bringing up race or racism or being racist, I mean, that is not even the subject of conversation here. And he was able to clear that and put that down, that was not what he meant, right? Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts concerning this conversation. This is a very important, sensitive conversation, right? Yes, please let me know your thoughts, your comments, or what you think about this particular video. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell. I'll see you in my next episode. Bye-bye.